welcome back to the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Circle Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Circlebark Burkle, here with the coach today, Aaron and Joe. Go ahead and say hi, guys.
Hi.
Alright,
Hello.
please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be taking a look at the upcoming Super Bowl matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. A Super Bowl matchup that NFL fans across the globe have been really not excited for, to be perfectly honest. Most people, not exactly the Super Bowl that they would have liked to see, but can't keep the champs down. So we'll go ahead and start off with you, Aaron. What's kind of your expectations going into this Super Bowl?
I don't know. I've been hearing some people sort of suggest it might be a high-scoring game. I kind of think the opposite. I think it's going to be more of a low-scoring game. These two teams really kind of known for their defenses this season. Now, granted, San Francisco has also, put up a fair amount of points and have the kind of vaunted core with McCaffrey and Kittle and Samuel and Purdy over there on the other side of the ball. But I think this is an interesting matchup between the two teams.
Yeah, a lot of people are considering this kind of like a David versus Goliath with the whole Purdy versus Mahomes situation going on, which is funny because the same people that are saying it's David versus Goliath are the same people that have been claiming Brock Purdy as, top 5 quarterback in the league. So I don't understand how David could be considered top 5 as well, but to some people, apparently he is. Joe, what are your kind of first impressions going into this one?
I'm ready to see him go at it. I told you guys that before the show, but I think I'm kind of leaning with Aaron. I'm hoping for a defensive game. Like
Yeah.
I hope the Niners defense shows up. I hope I bet on Kansas City's defense showing up, but the Niners defense has been scored on, and they've been able. People haven't had trouble moving the ball. Your defense, Chiefs, those dudes, they take the ball away. They'll force 3 and outs. They'll go on like yeah, but you guys play big on momentum too. Like you guys get back to back drives where you can force a 3 and out or just 2 stops. Like that team's coming downhill fast now. But um you also have Mahomes still on offense. So that's easier said than done to try to stop that guy. So I'm hoping for a defensive game. Just the football player in me just wants to see those defenses, especially contact the way these two defenses hit too. Like I think that's gonna be a fun game trying to see both teams establish the run, considering the run game has been the most consistent part for both teams. McCaffrey's the best running back in the league. Those dudes are killing it. Checo's already shown to be one of the better running backs from his own draft class. Like, and you guys, when the offense has had its struggles all year, it seemed off at a lot of points, but they leaned on that run game, and in this playoffs, that seems like their go-to right now. So that just means a lot of hard hitting, and let's see who can do it for 4 whole quarters, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it should be a really good matchup. A lot of questions going into the Ravens game for the Chiefs was were they going to be able to stop the run? And then the Ravens come out and they don't really run the ball at all. So I guess you could kind of probably have those same questions going into this one. Again, my theory with that Ravens game is that the Chiefs' defensive plan was to make Baltimore want to throw it more, and it just happened to work way better than anyone would have expected. But Brock Purdy, with as good as some people are saying he is, and I want to make it clear because looking at the comments from a video last week that we had, apparently a lot of people get the impression that we don't think Brock Purdy is good at football. That's not what we said. If you actually watch the video, then you would understand our stance on Brock Purdy, both mine and Aaron's at least, Joe not being here last week, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Our stance is that he is a solid quarterback that isn't necessarily going to lose you a game, but we're not sure if he can really win you a game. And we haven't seen enough evidence of him being able to do it without, an all-star supporting cast and Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel. We're not saying he's bad. We all three would probably agree he is above average. We just do not think he is on that same elite tier that some people are trying to put him on. We think it may be a little early for that, especially considering his roster, the supporting cast that he has to help win games. A lot of people, they'll point to his playoff record. They're like, oh, he's only ever lost a playoff game with, a torn UCL. But they don't take into account the fact that they had Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams and all these other, George Kittle, all these other superstars. Not to mention that defense that was probably better last year. I don't know how this turned into a rant. Go ahead.
I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of arguing that he's got the stud teammates. That is a big
Okay,
part of
that's
his
fair.
success. I mean, but Mahomes, look at the offense he came into the league with. He had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce that he got to throw the ball to his first year
I like
starting.
that.
So
You're the first person I've heard say that point of view. Okay, continue, but
yeah, I mean, the only real argument would be that the Chiefs' defense was non-existent when he first started, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that this 49ers defense is, even last
Solid. It's
year
really
and
good.
this year, are very solid and arguably probably one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
So that would be my only difference between the two. But the weapons on offense, I don't like that argument.
No, and that's fair. I mean, to bring up Mahomes, that's fair, but a lot of people were saying that without Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and that offensive line, Patrick Mahomes wouldn't be who he is. So they were saying that about Mahomes, and that is an argument that they say about every quarterback. So maybe that's not the most fair thing to point out, because nobody can do it alone, and that is true. Um, Me personally, I just haven't seen any of those superstar uh, elite level traits outside of maybe being able to read a defense, which is very important. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have exactly the strongest arm. He's not the quickest, although he can throw the ball downfield and he can move. He is not top like Mahomes, one of the strongest arms in the league. Josh Allen, one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league. Lamar Jackson, one of the fastest quarterbacks in the league. Justin Herbert, one of the strongest arms in the league. All these quarterbacks we consider elite. They're top tier in one of these physical attributes aside from just being able to read a defense well. And maybe he is the next coming of Tom Brady. I'm gonna go ahead and unless Joe, do you have anything to add to this argument? Because I think I don't want to get too lost in the weeds with this whole Brock Purdy conversation. That's not what this video was intended to be.
no, you're good. Go for
Okay.
it.
Okay. So yeah, on from the Brock Purdy situation, the argument there. What are kind of your guys's? So the Chiefs' defense much better than the last time these two met up in the Super Bowl. The Niners' offense, you could argue, is probably much better than when these two teams lined up in the Super Bowl. Is there any concern for, as a Chiefs fan, Aaron? I'll ask you first. Is there any concern that the Niners' offense may, even with how good the Chiefs' defense has been this year, is there concern that because we may have holes in the running defense, the rushing defense, is there concern that they may get something going on the ground that could end up pushing them? I mean, Mahomes can come back from any deficit, but making it difficult for him to do so by just running the ball, taking up clock, all that stuff.
I would kind of push back on the argument that this 49ers offense is much better than the one that we played previously. I mean, the whole thing about that 49ers team's run, I mean, sure they had Jimmy Garoppolo, and I would definitely say that Brock Purdy is a step up from Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So that's an improvement there. But that team, they won a playoff game only throwing the ball like 12 or 14 times, and they just ran all over. I think it was Green Bay. And they had a really strong rushing attack with Raheem Mostert, and there was like a three-headed attack that they had, and someone got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Who's
can't
the
remember
other
who
running
the other-
back on that team?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember.
But yeah, they were very solid in the run game as well. So
Right. Well, I mean, they had to
I
win
would-
games
I would-
that way because their quarterback play wasn't as good. And that's
I
I
would I
guess
would push back that it's a much better offensive team than it was because I mean you look at the same core components, it's still the same Kittle, Samuel. That's
yeah.
pretty much the same.
I guess my argument was like yeah. Just go ahead.
Shanahan, same playing caller. So I would push back against that a little bit, but um, as far as this Chiefs defense, goes facing this team, I would say I'm not really more worried than any other time. I mean, the main part of this offense or of offense that you got to worry about is the dynamic quarterback. I mean, we've seen it with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They did their best to shut them down and did it fairly effectively. So I don't see Brock Purdy really causing too many problems with his legs. He did rush, for a couple important first downs and some decent yardage in their last game. But I would say that if we can shut down Debo Samuel and George Kittle, then that leaves us stopping the rushing attack, and you know that's going to be our biggest problem.
Yeah, kind of in that same vein, Joe. Do you think that with the improvements the Chiefs have made on defense since the last time these two teams matched up in the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy, kind of known as a guy who's able to read defense as well, really well, get the ball out quick to his playmakers. Some people have compared him to Drew Brees, I guess. But what is your kind of your is there any reason to believe this Chiefs defense won't be able to hold up against Brock? Because I mean, you got to worry about Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Those two are two dynamic offensive threats out wide. You got George Kittle, one of the most complete tight ends, obviously, and then Christian McCaffrey, who can easily catch it out of the backfield better than probably any running back in the league. Um, so is there kind of some concerns that even with how good that Chiefs secondary is, with like L'Jarius Sneed and McDuffie and Reed and all those guys, is there any reason to believe that this defense may struggle stopping that Niners passing game with the quick passes and all that stuff?
Yeah, there's a reason to believe it is the same reason why they have been favored to win in every single game this season. On paper, that offense is going to be hard to stop. Does not matter what defense is facing them.
Right.
It could have been Baltimore. It was going to be a struggle if but I at the same time, I don't think it's completely insane to think the Chiefs can stop them completely. Yeah, it's going to take L'Jarius Sneed. It's going to take Chris Jones. It's going to take Bolton and Gay. Like, it's going to take their best games to do it, but I don't think that's impossible. It could happen. The way you guys have gotten hot, you guys have been in the Super Bowl. You know what it means. Like, that experience is gonna mean something, especially when you have the experience with the young guys as much as they do.
Right.
Mainly Bolton and them. So like, I don't, I don't think it's, I don't think it's as much to say. Like, yeah, everyone knows the focus is on the run game, but you can take Christian McCaffrey out. It's Kyle Shanahan's offense. That's what he's done. Like, yeah, he did it with like Matt Ryan. They aired it out more, but they with Devontae Freeman that time in Atlanta, they Devontae Freeman was good, but he did it all. He did it like McCaffrey, not to that extent, of course, but he did it like McCaffrey. He caught it out the backfield a lot. They ran out of shotgun, they ran play action, all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't change. They still have to be as good as they are. And that my concern is the 49ers old line. Like Trent Williams, best left tackle in football, hands down. But outside of him, I'm not saying the other guys are bad. They obviously have the best rushing attack this season, or arguably. So like they get the job done. But I mean, no, I think that there's you can see I see both sides completely. I can see the Chiefs defense getting absolutely tore to shreds because there's so many weapons. But never know.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I think if there's any team outside of the Ravens who did it earlier this year really well, uh, that's got the defense that can keep this dynamic of an offense from being able to get up and going. I think the Chiefs defense is it. I mean, we've been talking all year about how they're probably at least a top five, you could easily argue, I think, top two, if you look at the numbers. Maybe even number one. And
Historically, you guys are top 5 in points per game
yeah,
given up
yeah, haven't let up a
in
third.
any in a playoff season like that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, I'm not even talking like even if you go back to the regular season, I don't think we've let up 30 points in a single game this year.
Yeah.
So
No, you guys have been locked down, dude.
yeah, best
Averaging
defense
giving up
we've
7
seen in a
points in the
while.
second half.
Yeah, like we don't let people score after halftime. It's which is why I think if the Chiefs go into halftime with the lead, I think it's basically game over, assuming that defense can replicate what they've been doing this season. Um, One last thing I want to bring up before we get into our predictions. This kind of goes out to both of you. Receiver issues have kind of been the name of the game for the Chiefs this year. Couple of big storylines regarding the receiver core in the last few days for the Chiefs. First one being that Kadarius Toney seems like he may be suiting up for the Super Bowl. Was present on media day. Was talking about how he expected to get the ball in the game. And then today, I don't know if you all saw this before, like maybe an hour or two before the podcast, Sky Moore came off the IR. So potential for him to maybe get involved in the Super Bowl. Obviously, we saw what happened when McCole Hardman got the ball last round. That could maybe be some reason behind why we may be bringing Moore and Tony back into the picture. But what's kind of your guys' expectations for those two going into this game? Because I feel like it could go either way. Similar to like, for instance, last Super Bowl, those two guys probably won us the game down the stretch. And this time around, they might not even touch the field. So what's kind of your guys' thoughts on that? Whoever wants to take it away.
I mean, we kind of saw it with MVS. We were bitching about him being bad all
It's
year, and
true.
then three big catches down the stretch against the Bills and the Ravens. Um, I just don't know that I have enough faith in Tony. You know, I know I said that about MVS, but I think they're personality-wise very different. It feels like um, Tony's kind of similar to McCole Hardman, whereas when they get the ball, they want to prove that they should get the ball more, and they maybe do a little too much, and then turn the ball over or drop the ball, whatever it may be. So I could see that maybe being a problem with Tony bringing him back into the fold. Sky Moore, I don't really have a problem bringing him back in. He's never really had, a lot of drop issues or ball security issues. So that'll just be another nice weapon to add into the fold.
Joe, what do you think?
Um, I think it's all hands on deck,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like if we know the explosiveness of Tony, I look at Kadarius Toney. I think of it more as like, yeah, okay, he might get some snaps and he might get a few targets. I think being that it's the Super Bowl, I think he drops one or two done. That like we're not leaving you
Yeah.
in to do this. You guys have done just fine without him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I look at it more so like
Better, arguably.
add him on special teams. Like we remember the punt return last Super Bowl that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy, there's still no doubt. His problem is getting the ball in his hands. Problem isn't what he when he has the ball. Like the
Right.
dude makes plays, and so that could be a factor. But Sky Moore with Aaron, I don't think is a problem. I think it's obviously proven. Rasheed Rice is the guy. Um,
Yeah.
and then Kelsey, like those guys are 1 and 2. Those are gonna be who Mahomes is looking for. And then if they get the check down, most likely Pacheco. Tight ends aren't the backup tight end. Was it Gray?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
great.
like I kind of like that guy. I
I do.
like
I
him.
like him.
I
I've
think he's
always
I
I
think
liked
he's
do.
him.
nice. So like you even have him with another big body, especially in a game like this where
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be real physical. You're probably going to run a lot of double tight end sets, simply just the fact off the way both defenses are. Um, and so I don't think Kadarius Toney's going to be a problem, and I think people are just it's Super Bowl week, and so they're just going to make every little thing a big deal. I think if there's going to be any kind of problem, Andy Reid is a smart enough man to just be like, all right, cool, get that guy out.
Yeah.
Let's just roll on with what we've been doing.
I will say you brought it up, and this is not gambling advice. I do not want to promote gambling right now, at least until we get a sponsorship. Then maybe, but definitely not right now. No, this is not gambling advice. But if there's Noah Gray anytime touchdown, maybe hammer it. Maybe hammer that.
That could be a good
That
call.
could, yeah, I
Little
like
trick
that.
play in the
I
in
could
the
totally
inside
see
the
something
five or
like
something
that
like that.
I
happening.
think Noah.
I
I
kind of
think
like that
Noah
play.
Gray. Yeah, I kind of think Noah Gray could get a touchdown this game. But
Pacheco, I definitely
oh, I definitely hammer that one. But you're not gonna make as much money on that one. Noah
yeah.
Gray, you might make a grand on like a $10 bet. Um, I guess we'll go ahead and get into our predictions though. I'll go ahead. Yeah, I'll start first. I I mean I'm wearing the jersey. I'm gonna have to go Chiefs, obviously. I'm kind of with both y'all. I think it's gonna be a grinded out game. That's kind of how the Chiefs have had to win games this year, and their defense just doesn't let up enough points for it to be a shootout. Um, in my opinion, shootouts are like 30 plus points both teams, and I don't see either team scoring 30. I think it's going to come down to, Butker. Luckily, we've got one of the best kickers in the game, and I think it could very well come down to a kicking game, especially with our defense being bend don't break. Theirs could very well be the same situation. We get into a field goal range a few times, but we can't quite convert once we get into the red zone, which has been our problem all year. So that's another thing that I think may come into play. Is we may end up kicking a few short field goals. Um, I've got a feeling. I think we'll go into halftime up 13 to 10. Come out really physical second half. I don't know what'll exactly happen in the third quarter, but somehow Niners score another touchdown to go up 17-13. We come back with back-to-back field goals to go up 19-17, and then kind of just ice it from there. Maybe score another touchdown, maybe not, but I don't expect the Chiefs to score more than 25. I don't expect the Niners to score more than 20. I'm going to go ahead and make that my bold take right now. His Niners will score less than 20 points. Um, I'll just say it comes down to 22 to, or no, 23. Is that what I want? Yeah, I think I want 23. Yeah, 23-17. Chiefs.
Yeah, kind of along those lines. Uh, maybe some early points put up in the first half. Then kind of defensive adjustments in the second half, and then whatever team has the lead, I would say that offense kind of slows down and really tries to run the clock in the second half. Um, I think final score is probably around 24-20 for the Chiefs.
Yeah. So right around the same area. Joe, what about you?
I just want to go out and say I do not hate the Chiefs. But man, if you pick against the Chiefs, I know a lot of them are just straight up haters right now.
That's fair.
Not all of them are. I would really like to see Christian McCaffrey. I would really like to see Fred Warner, a fellow San Diego guy, win a Super Bowl. I really would.
Me too.
George Kittle, guys like that would be
Not this
awesome
one.
to see
Just
win
not
the
against the
Super
Chiefs.
Bowl. Debo, Ayuk, Trent Williams, like this would be a fun team to see win a Super Bowl. Which is why I'm enjoying watching everybody boo the heck out of the Chiefs right now. Because it's just adding fuel to the fire. In which I think Patrick Mahomes is walking out with another ring at the end of the night. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I
I have all the
guess.
feelings towards the Niners. It'd be so fun. But,
Yeah.
you know, uh, watching Kelsey and them get juiced, like, you guys already kind of were fine taking on all the ridicule of everybody just being annoyed of you. Yes, the Taylor Swift effect stuff, everybody getting tired of that. But going into the Super Bowl, I feel like there's no better feeling than going in there as a villain. You
Man.
get to just go in there And I would not personally want to do it to the best quarterback in the league. I wouldn't. I always said don't do it to Tom Brady. You know, you just don't do it to the Kobe's, Michael Jordans. You can't do it to those kind of people. Why do it when 15 is under center in that Kansas City uniform? Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's one part we didn't really touch on was all the shit talking that the Niners fans and stuff were doing that. And like one thing I was concerned about, I guess towards the beginning of this run, the 6 year run, I didn't know if Mahomes would be able to embrace being the villain because he seemed like such a nice guy off the field and all that. But I think he's got that like Kobe esque, Tom Brady esque, Michael Jordan esque mentality where like he thrives off of that stuff. We already knew Travis Kelsey did because he'd been saying that stuff for years. But for Mahomes to come out and finally say, "If y'all need a villain, I'm here," basically. Fuck yeah, man! That makes me feel so cool as a Chiefs fan.
Coming out with a black headband.
Oh,
Oh,
that'd
that
be
would be it.
dirty. That bring back the black unis. Oh, let's do it,
You guys need. Everybody needs to be in black Air Forces coming into that stadium.
dude. For real, no
If they do
socks.
that, if they do that, that's gonna be. It's gonna be epic.
Black Air Forces, no socks. Just absolute menaces. All right. Well, unless y'all got anything else, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most unprofessional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Circleberg Merkel. Here with my co-host today, Aaron and Joe. Go ahead and say bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Other than that, deuces.